So I first became, I suppose, aware of PYTHIA when in another band I play in, we shared a couple of bills, and I was actually quite struck by how sort of, well organised and well developed in terms of the performance and the live show side to it. And that's something I've always been very fond of. I think it's something that too many bands don't really put enough into. Because at the end of the day, if you just want to listen to music, listen to it on a CD, whereas a live performance is both a musical, a sonic thing and a visual thing as well. I was a bit unsure about playing in robes and, and leather armour, but actually that proved to be fine in the end. It wasn't quite as restrictive, and I was a bit paranoid I might trip over on my tabard, but that didn't happen, thankfully. So I was really impressed by, I think, sort of the work ethic and the approach of the band. Everything came across as being very professional and well organised, and that to me was like, okay, yeah, this is a good bunch of guys to be with. And I think sort of personally as well, I seem to be on a good wavelength with everyone, which, while at the end of the day you're playing music, I think that personal side is very important. It just really felt like the right thing. Everything felt very positive about it.
In terms of writing riffs and everything else, we all chuck it in. If someone hears something that they think's cool and comes up with something, it goes to committee, and eventually the song gets strung together. Sometimes it is a bit strung together already. We send Ross over ideas of like how a verse would work into a riff and into a chorus or something like that, and we get a basic structure together, send it over to Mark, and then it sort of comes over to me for sort of bells and whistles and harmonies and things like that, and general sort of the icing to Ross's metal cake.
I think from my point of view, once I started writing the riffs and the basic song ideas, my initial thought was to take what we'd done on the first album, Beneath the Veiled Embrace, and basically use that as like a starting point. So try not to change the sound of the bands too much or go off in too many weird directions. Sort of we've got quite a good sound feel as a band that we created on the first album, and obviously the fan base liked that sound. So to go off and do something too different would be a bit daft.
Well, generally Ross is the melting pot where all the riffs end up. We send everything over to him, and he cuts them around, finds what's good, what's not, and what's going to work with the general sound.
That's what it's like. We take that as a starting point, but from that, try and go a bit heavier, a bit more complicated guitar-wise, a bit more riffy guitar-wise, heavier riffs, a bit more complex melodies, maybe go slightly more progressive, and just try and push ourselves a little bit.
After sort of going out there and touring it and gigging it and hearing it over and over and over again, I knew what my expectations were, or the expectations were upon me. Yeah, had a lot more time to sit with it because we demoed the album properly. We could actually listen to the songs, think what went in the right place at the right time, and I got a real chance to be a bit more expressive. Boned up on my scales and modes again. Remembered all the stuff that I'd sort of forgotten about because it wasn't. I'd rather be in the pub than sort of practicing at home, and I got pretty much the proudest work I've got to date. I'm really pleased with it. Every song was sort of taken really slowly. There were bits that I had to go away and practice like 2-second blasts of shred for just to get that one bit right. But it all got down there on the album, and 9 times out of 10 I can pull it off live. So if you don't believe it, come and see it.